left actually as the Nightelf, and over to the right side of the map we have his opponent, and that is PCG. Now for PCG, this is actually the second Nightelf versus Undead that he's playing here today in the group stage of WGL, and well, let's just face it, our little bad boy in red got pretty spanked by Moon in the first series that he played, so to put it direct, he got his ass kicked. Pretty hard, actually. So I'm kind of curious to see how it's going against XiXi right now in this particular game, if he learned a little bit from the lesson that Moon gave him there for free, or if Nightelf versus Undead is just a matchup where he's currently struggling a little bit, as so many do against the Keeper first. Now keep in mind, the last time that he actually played on the map, he went for a pretty interesting opening where he went for a proxy necropolis in his opponent's base. And that didn't really have the effect that he was hoping for. With that Acolyte already being on the way to the left side, I really want to see if he goes for a similar opening. I doubt it a bit though, because the last time he definitely delayed the ghouls a little bit that he was throwing out there. We still have the DK as the first hero for him, so that doesn't really come as a shocker. And on the other hand, there is the Keeper immediately on the way as well. But yeah, after that opening against Moon, I'm definitely curious to see what that Acolyte is now going to do. Normally you look at that bad boy and you're saying like, okay, he's just scouting. But yeah, we saw him definitely change things up in the games against Moon. But considering that he doesn't even have the resources, not really saving up either, I feel like we're having a bit more of a normal game on our hands this time. And it's probably for the better, to tell you the truth, because yeah, that last game didn't really go too well for him. So for the time being, Moon, of course, XiXi starting with the normal creep here, nothing too crazy. My question is more so directed to how exactly is PCG going to play this right now. Are we going to see him with an attempt to harass a little bit more? There's no graveyard yet, so he's just going into ghouls, and it looks like we're going to have a bit of initial creeping on his side as well. So not really focused on trying to harass the Nightelf player and annoy him. Now, he was in the previous Nightelf vs. Undead, oftentimes in the series where he ventured out a little bit too far with his army in the mid-game and then got caught by the Keeper and a couple of Hunts and Archers and had to drop the TP as well. So maybe in this game he has a bit of a different approach to how things are going for him. Circular mobility on the Keeper, so he gets a bit of a stat advantage right now. That's definitely going to help him here. Should also be able to pick up that Acolyte in an ideal world without dropping mana on an Entangle, and it's kind of likely, but actually the Death Knight just now showing up, that could be a coil, and apparently it's not. Okay. Not quite sure what I was thinking about that. That Acolyte actually survives. So PCG is going full calculated. He looked at the distance from the Acolyte to the main base, calculated how fast the ghouls are, and then of course figured in the attack speed of the Keeper and immediately decided that there is just no way that that Acolyte can be taken down by the Keeper. Of course, he also had to figure in the extra damage that comes with the Circle of Mobility. So PCG really going full rocket scientist on us here and making sure that he doesn't even drop a little bit of mana on a coil. So yeah, pretty impressive. That guy, definitely smart. IQ 200 plays already that we're seeing from him here. Also attack for the Necropolis, same time with a Tree of Life on the side for XiXi started down to the bottom left, and we're having him with a Hunter's Hall and Ultra Vision. So from XiXi, pretty much what you've seen in most of the games in this matchup right now, starting with a couple of tier 1 units, usually mixed with Archers and Huntress, trying to dominate it with the Keeper. Having just a strong force that allows you to basically succeed whenever you're forcing a fight around the Entangle, and on the back of that you then can expand. Will delay your tech a little bit, but these days with Nightelf you are actually in a pretty safe mode where you can still tech quite early, and that's exactly what we're seeing him do right now. So playing this a little bit greedy, as Nightelf can do, and with all of the summonings, with the treants here, with Archers, he should be fine with that as well. Now then again, we have actually seen a bit more of a focus from a lot of Undead players to go into double Crypt Ghoul Rushs, but at this point he needs to be careful that his Death Knight doesn't fall, and that has to be a TP. Without an Unholy... Oh, he lost vision! Alright, that was a little bit unfortunate for XiXi here, and definitely a bit of luck for our Undead player. Now he has the Unholy Aura, and that makes things a little bit easier for him. But just as the Keeper was about to hit the second Entangle, there was a very brief moment where he lost vision, and the Keeper got stuck in the tree, so the Death Knight could escape. Because he would have to either use his Town Portal or simply accept that he would lose the level 1 hero here. And he's still eating a bit of damage from that hunt, and he needs to make sure that the Keeper doesn't get close enough for another Entangle, because that would definitely be the downfall of him. Huntress still chasing him around, and the bad news is that the Keeper is also on the way and is just trying to intercept him here. You can run, dude, but I doubt that you can hide. At some point, he is going to run in a couple of Nightelf units, and that's going to be the end of him. The ghouls are already back in the main base. He sees the Tree of Life, so you know what's coming here. And at that point, we're seeing XiXi simply saying, alright, I'm done with this. I'm running around way too much, and I'm wasting way too much time trying to kill you. And especially with the Unholy Aura finally in the hands of the Death Knight, there's also a bit of a limited chance that I'm actually going to catch you here. So for the time being, the focus, again, more on trying to make sure that that expansion is in play. Looking into the main base, we should also see him about to complete the Tree of Life. Yep, nearly done there. And looking for the Undead player, we're having the immediate tech into the Black Citadel once again. So straight from the Necropolis up into tier 2, into tier 3, gonna add that second hero. So far we've seen him play with that Death Knight and Lich combo, super additional, just time that properly so your Lich pops out while you have your Black Citadel, and then you can go straight into the Orb of Corruption if you play around that. 27 supply currently for PCG. And quite a bit of money that he starts now to invest into the Lich. Has a slaughterhouse here, gets a first statue, expansion in play. So the stage is set for the mid game here. And here comes the Town Portal once again. Absolutely no chance for him to fight right now. Needs to TP out. That one's being used. And with the Alchemist already in tow, we're seeing our Nightelf player in blue trying to get those heroes onto the next level. Keep on level 3, of course, would be fantastic for him here. And at the same time, the Alchemist himself is currently waiting to get some experience too. Now, XiXi in general has really not focused as heavily on hunts as we've seen from most players. He really loves to still play around with ghouls and currently is not investing into upgrades of any kind. Now, in previous games, Moon, when he was facing against the Nightelf, Moon at that point was actually transitioning a bit into Fairy Dragons and also adding a few Hippogriffs against the Destroyers, and that led to an eventual switch into more Fiends, but he really loves to play that Ghoul style. And Halls of the Dead is completed. Personally, I'm actually asking myself if with this, yes, go straight into Ghoul Frenzy right now too. So Frenzy Ghouls, no upgrades, that's currently the name of the game. Normally in the days of old, what he would like to do with that is also get a couple of scrolls. He doesn't have that yet, but he's going into the fight here and he hits the Nova, and that's actually quite a bit of damage already on the Archers, getting one down, taking the second, not getting the item here as the Wand of Mana Stealing has now been grabbed by the Alchemist, but he's able to take a couple of the units down, and he's still fighting here. Keep in mind though, Ghoul Frenzy is not ready yet, so he's still taking that battle, only relying on the coil to heal his units back up. Gets the hit points through Death Knight on 3, has the Pennon of Energy, that's definitely going to help him here, but the statues in the back are helping out quite a bit. One hunt already about to fall, trading it in for a Ghoul here, definitely a good trade for him, and especially the Lich is starting to do some solid work with the Orb of Corruption. Hippogriff also on the map right now, and yeah, PCG is actually starting to do pretty well here. Gets the Treants as well, and therefore some extra experience for him now too. About to get another one, but in terms of supply, he's not looking too happy right now. 33 against 43 here. Then again, he has quite a bit of resource that he still has available, and uh-oh, yeah, Town Portal was definitely needed for the Keeper. XiXi was in a lot of trouble here. Keeper on level 3 doesn't really have too many hit points there, and got pretty much bodied. Double potion of healing actually for him immediately being chosen. And now we have also that switch into Fairy Dragons that I mentioned earlier from Moon in the previous Nightelf versus Undead that PCG was playing. So he will have to transition a bit, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. Researching the web, he has Ghoul Frenzy, web is coming in now as well. And then of course when you're playing as a Undead player, you're really hinging on it. Like, a lot of the idea is really to play a bit of a kiting game against the Nightelf player, trying to just like move in and out with the help of the extra speed through the Unholy Aura. He's already trying to creep the shop here, but gets creepjacked as we speak. Entangle is in. He doesn't have a Town Portal. Needs to be really careful here, and he's getting completely bodied on the Death Knight. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability is being used, but as soon as that's over, there's a good chance that we're going to see another Entangle coming through. The problem, of course, still that the Keeper is also also a bit low, and there is already a Nova, but he still had a potion available. Here comes the Entangle though, and that could be the end of the level 3 hero. Down goes the Death Knight, 3 for the Alchemist, and again PCG is in trouble. Nightelf's definitely giving him a hard time here, and if the Keeper gets another Entangle through, it's going to be the end of the Lich as well. Down goes the second hero now, and that is of course a nightmare. Losing way too much here. 53 supply against 30 something, and that is game number 1 in the hands of XiXi, the Nightelf. Game number 2, everybody. Terrana Stand is our second map here between XiXi and PCG. And the Nightelf in blue to the top left has just taken the lead on Echo Isles. So far, the matchup against Nightelf is definitely not something that PCG enjoys too much. Lost against Moon with an 0-2 earlier, and right now behind against XiXi as well. He still tries to just play this ghoul style at the beginning of the game and then switch into fiends only if he sees air units on the sides of his opponent, and it doesn't really work out for him, especially with him being forced into an early town portal once again. He gets caught on the map without a TP and loses the Death Knight there, and that's more or less the beginning of the end and exactly that moment. So he never really got into that late game that Undeads are usually aiming for, when you can really control the flow of the fight with your high level heroes and try to just nuke the shit out of the Keeper, for example. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation for PCG right now, and he really needs to dig deep in order to find a way to solve that problem. We're having him with a very similar opening to what we've seen so far already. Nothing insane about that. Can definitely start with the earlier ghoul style and then make that switch, but he definitely needs to adjust a bit the way that he approaches the map in general, because when you go up against that Keeper and you get creep checked like he did now several times against previous Night Elves too, then you are going to be in trouble if you don't have that town portal available. And his entire style seems to center a lot around this. A quick tag into tier 3, trying to get Ghoul Frenzy, play around that, switch into Fiends if needed. But if you play that style against Hunters in particular with the bouncing glaives, what you really need is also a bit of sustain. That usually comes through Scrolls of Healings that you can activate. Statues, of course, is something that he added to the mix, but I feel if he really wants to be successful in these fights, he needs a little bit more. For the time being, we're having again the entire creep set up for XiXi up to the top, with the Keeper as his first hero, trying to get the first few items. And let's see if we're having a bit of a mix-up on the side of PCG. So far it doesn't really look like it. He gets the first couple of ghouls out and immediately starts focusing on his own creep spots. We don't see him trying to harass on the other side of the map too much, more so focus on his own hero level, which I really don't mind all that much, especially considering that, of course, you want to make sure you get your level 2 as well for the Unholy Aura. That movement speed bonus and the regeneration is really, really important. Good hit here. Actually, no detonate on the Wisp, so a pretty good hit that we're seeing from him. Ghoul, on the other hand, needs to be a bit cautious. Potion of Invulnerability also. Definitely going to help him here as well. So a pretty decent creep for him. Still gets, of course, a lot of damage put onto that Death Knight, so that's a bit of the downside of what we're seeing here. But good items for him. Gets the Potion of Invulnerability, has Gauntlets of Augur Strength to boost that hit point pool even a little bit more, and can maybe even start attacking that Keeper a bit. Also very important for him to get the Forest Troll Shadow Priest. We talked about this in the past, but having that Dispel available for you is going to be highly important here. Exactly for that, getting rid of that Entangle. But now, of course, the focus that we're seeing from the Keeper is directly on the Forest Troll. Here comes once again, quick Entangle, and he should fall eventually. But in the meantime, we have also a little bit of action happening up here to the top, where the Death Knight actually grabs the item, gets the Gloves of Haste here, and starts focusing on some of the archers as well. Might be able to get some damage in here too. Tree of Life already produced. I mean, a cancel force on that one would be absolute. Oh, nice! Awesome move. Haven't really seen that in a while. Very, very close move here by him as well. I mean, that Death Knight was right next to the Wisp, so it wasn't like the coil had a lot of travel time. Starts the building, cancels it immediately, avoids the death coil. Really sweet move. Absolutely love it when players do stuff like this. Can still remember when we saw it for the first time back in Reign of Chaos, and it was absolutely insane that someone would pull it out. Way more common, of course, these days, but always cool when you see it, especially at close distance. Still the ghoul focus that we talked about a bit earlier. Tech into tier 2 has the graveyard now on the way, so we're most likely going to see him mass up a bit of resources here, as he's done in the previous games, and then immediately start the Black Citadel tech and take it from there. Waiting actually with a coil, pretty nice. Yeah, you could see he cancelled the coil. So he was trying to start the animation to force the Nightelf into another build cancel and then follow it up. But this time he was not tricked, and eventually it leads to a detonate of the Wisp. So at least the unit is gone, but of course a bit of the mana has also bitten the dust there. So, yeah, pretty sweet. Again, the focus on that Tree of Life, and he has the ghouls with him as well, and that could be, that should be a cancel. That is going to be a cancel. There's no way he's going to let that through. And that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing for PCG. Like, this was great. Fantastic timing from him. The Nightelf himself was already creeping at the same time, got his level 3, has a Potion of Invulnerability now too, already heavily important here. Not so sure about the moves on the Death Knight here. He might actually have to use the Potion of Invulnerability with this. Great move by XiXi to immediately start moving forward and try and intercept him. And there's the Potion of Invulnerability. I'm not quite sure if I really agree with the move that he just made there. I mean, what would have happened if he didn't go for that? He would have lost another ghoul. I would rather lose a ghoul than having to use the Potion of Invulnerability. So a couple of questionable choices here on the side of PCG again. But once more, getting the cancel on the expansion was actually a really huge deal. Especially since the cancel happened really late, and the amount of money that you get back after a cancel depends on how much that progress bar here has moved forward. So that was not really a whole lot of gold that XiXi got back for the cancel. So in the meantime, we're still seeing from PCG a bit of a creep attempt there. Let's see, Pendant of Energy as an item. Always great if you're an Undead player. Getting that extra mana in helps profoundly, especially if your opponent doesn't have any mana drain, as we saw in the past with the Demon Hunter quite that often. Level 3 for him. Tech into tier 3. Very soon going to start with the Lich here again. Slaughterhouse is also on the way. Lich straight with the Orb of Corruption, and then going to take it from there. But shutting down that expansion is really such a huge asset already for PCG. It's definitely going to make the life of XiXi a little bit harder. In the last game, for example, you could early on already rely on that extra income from the expansion, and this time that's just not going to be the case. We're still seeing a couple of mercenaries in the army from XiXi. With the Alchemist, he's going to currently focus on trying to get him to level 3. First of all, level 2, of course, as well. In the inventory for the Keeper, we still have the Claws of Attack +9. Also always awesome to have that on a ranged hero. Get a lot of value out of that. And yeah, she's actually chilling in the main base a little bit. He's not even moving out. Making sure that this time he's not going to get caught by his opponent. Sees the Ancient of Wind though, just as he moves in with the skeleton, so he knows already that there's going to be another tech switch happening, and Fiends are already on the way. Same is true for the Lich. It's going to pop out. Halls of the Dead nearly completed, and that Keeper just can't force anything right now. Him staying in the main base allows him to, at least for now, play this a little bit safer, but of course the problem is that he yields the map to his opponent, and that allows the Alchemist to hassle-free creep to level 2, gets the Claws of Attack +6, a little bit of a stat boost through the Circle of Nobility, which is always a boon. And yeah, we should see the Orb of Corruption coming in, and there it is. And now it's time to shine. Are we gonna see the upgrade for the ghouls again, though? Oh, pretty quick, actually, the Death Coil here onto the Keeper. Just trying to keep him low here a little bit. Was basically a fuck-off coil, that's what we're calling that. You see the Keeper coming in, he's like, dude, just go away. Coil immediately hitting, and of course, if you keep that coming, especially with the Pendant of Energy that he has in the inventory, he can definitely... I mean, he can definitely... I'm missing that word. Yeah, he can definitely like hit a couple of coils as no problem. Afford, thank you. There we go. English is such a tough language sometimes. He can definitely afford to get a couple of coils through early on, and will still be absolutely fine here. Here comes again one of these attacks, but the creep so far is still decent. Keep in mind that the first destroyers are in play, but he still can't really contest that army. And the Death Knight is getting blocked by the Dark Wizard, and of course also getting entangled by now to boot. And he will have to use the town portal here. Wow, might get another call through. He's still getting body blocked. Dude, it hasn't changed. You're still getting body blocked here. Use that town portal earlier. That was just bad luck right there. That was just unfortunate. And yeah, this guy is just one of the unluckiest person that I've seen in a long time. The expansion is through by now. We have 40 supply against 37. But yeah, things are still a little bit rough for him. He's just losing most of the ghouls that he's putting into play here. Like again, the style has been the same the entire time. He goes into roughly 10 ghouls, maybe a little bit less, roughly 8, and he loses most of them without accomplishing too much and making the inevitable switch into fiends then eventually. But yeah, it's definitely rough times for him. Now in terms of items, he has a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. He didn't really invest into a Scroll of Town Portal here, but he has still a huge mana pool that he can use, and even Wand of Illusion that might be effective for him. But now when you're looking into the main base of XiXi, we already have those Fairy Dragon coming in. Level 3, nearly 4 Keeper of the Groove has a Scroll of Healing here, second Scroll of Healing on the Alchemist. The item power that we are seeing for the Nightelf is definitely fantastic. And he's sitting also at a little bit more supply than we're seeing the Undead right now. But this is definitely a battle where PCG now has to show his micro skills. He needs to get some value out of this. The Lich is just level 2. We don't have him level 3 yet, so he can't really rely on the power of Coil Nova yet, but he is able to at least get some damage through here for sure. The question just is, can he focus down the air units with the 2 fiends that he has? More coming in. Here comes the first web. Can start to kite away a little bit if he really wanted to, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Calling the fiend again. Another one coming in, adding that to the army immediately, and still continuing with that dance back and forth. But once more, the Death Knight, the focus of attention was already low, has to use the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability here. And he is still getting blocked by so many treants, and here comes the Keeper. Great heads-up play by XiXi, walking past him the entire time. Death Knight is down, and once more it looks like he's just going to be outplayed here. The GG being dropped as PCG loses 0-2 against XiXi.